The conference room felt like a prison cell as I watched 15 years of dedication crumble in front of me. My father's face had turned that particular shade of red I'd grown to dread, while my mother wrung her hands in her lap, avoiding eye contact. I'm Lexi, and until today, I was the creative director of Burke Eco Solutions, our family's sustainability company. The same company I'd given up art school for. The same company I'd poured my heart and soul into since I was 19. "These reports are fabricated," I said, spreading the documents across the polished table. "Landon's been cutting corners with our suppliers. We're using non-biodegradable materials and marketing them as eco-friendly." My younger brother lounged in his chair, a smirk playing at the corners of his mouth. "You've always been jealous of my success, sis, just because you can't handle modern business practices." "Modern business practices?" I shot back. "You mean fraud? That's enough." My father's fist came down hard on the table, making the water glasses rattle. "Lexi, these accusations are ridiculous. Landon has increased our profits by 40% since taking over operations. By lying to our customers, everything we built this company on." "Times change," my mother interrupted softly. "We need to adapt." I pulled up the company website on my tablet, hands shaking. "Look at this. 100% sustainable materials." "That's a lie. We're no better than the companies we used to criticize." Landon rolled his eyes. "God, you're so dramatic. This is business, not your little art projects." The mention of art stung more than it should have. I'd wanted to go to art school since I was 12, but when the family business needed help, I'd put those dreams aside. Now here I was, watching my brother destroy everything we'd built. "Dad," I pleaded, "remember what you always said. Integrity first, profit second." "That was before we nearly went bankrupt," he replied coldly. "Landon saved us, by turning us into exactly what we fought against." I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. "I have proof, real proof. If this gets out—" "It won't get out," Landon cut in, his voice dangerous, "because you're fired." The room went silent. I looked at my father, waiting for him to object, to defend me, to remember all the nights I'd stayed late helping him with paperwork, all the weekends I'd sacrificed. Instead, he nodded. "It's for the best, Lexi. You're clearly not aligned with our new direction." "New direction?" I laughed, but it came out more like a sob. "You mean selling out everything we believed in?" My mother finally looked up. "Please, sweetie, don't make this harder than it needs to be." "I'm trying to save our company," I was shouting now, tears burning in my eyes. "Our reputation, our legacy. Security will escort you out," Landon said, already typing on his phone. "Clear your desk by 5. I looked at each of them. My mother's averted gaze, my father's stern disappointment, Landon's satisfied smirk. 15 years of loyalty, reduced to this moment. "You're making a mistake," I said, gathering my things. "When this comes out, and it will come out, you'll lose everything." My father stood, his voice ice cold. "Get out, Lexi. You're not our daughter anymore." The words hit like a physical blow. I straightened my spine, years of suppressed anger finally breaking free. "Fine. But remember this moment, Dad. Remember it when it all falls apart." I walked out of that conference room with my head high, past the shocked faces of employees I'd worked with for years. In my office, I didn't bother taking much. Just my personal photos, my sketchbook, and a small potted succulent Riley had given me last Christmas. As security watched me leave, I heard Landon's voice behind me. "Don't forget to turn in your keycard, sis." I turned around one last time, meeting his eyes. "You know what, Landon? Keep it. You'll need a reminder of how things used to be when this house of cards collapses." The glass doors closed behind me with a final click. Standing on the sidewalk, clutching my sad little box of belongings, I should have felt defeated. Instead, I felt something else stirring. Determination, maybe. Or revenge. My phone buzzed. A text from Riley. "Heard what happened. Meet me at Cafe Luna in 20. Think I might have an interesting proposition for you." I smiled, wiping away the last of my tears. They thought they were ending my story, but maybe they were just giving me the push I needed to start a new one. And this time, I'd write it my way. Café Luna was packed with the usual afternoon crowd, but I spotted Riley immediately. She always stood out with her signature red blazer and no-nonsense posture, a remnant from her corporate days. As I approached, she pushed a steaming mug across the table, ordered your usual, double-shot oat milk latte, extra hot. "You're a lifesaver," I said, sinking into the chair, "though I could use something stronger." "Already ahead of you." She pulled out a small flask and discreetly added a splash to both our coffees. "Getting fired by your own family deserves at least Irish coffee." I took a long sip, letting the warmth spread through my chest. "How did you hear so fast? Your brother's already bragging about it on LinkedIn. Exciting changes in upper management or some corporate BS like that." "Of course he is." I gripped the mug tighter. 15 years, Riley. 15 years of my life, and they threw me away like yesterday's recycling. "Their loss." Riley leaned forward, her eyes sparking with that look I knew meant trouble. "But maybe it's your gain. Remember Noel Jenkins? The guy who created that solar-powered water filtration system. The very same. He's looking for partners for a new venture. Sustainable products, but with a focus on design and artistry. The minute I heard what happened, I called him. My heart skipped. "Riley, I can't." "Yes, you can." She pulled out her tablet, sliding it across the table. "Look at this proposal. They need someone who understands both sustainability and aesthetics. Someone who can make eco-friendly products beautiful." I scrolled through the documents, my artist's eye catching on the preliminary designs. They were good, but they could be better. My fingers itched to sketch improvements. "There's more," Riley said, watching my reaction. "Someone wants to meet you, someone big." "Who?" "Angelina Tran." I nearly choked on my coffee. "The Angelina Tran, widow of—" "The same. She's been following your work at Burke for years. Says you're the only one who stayed true to the original vision, but she never meets with anyone. Not since her husband. She'll meet with you. Tomorrow morning, her estate." Riley's phone buzzed. "That's Noel now. He can meet us for dinner tonight if you're free." My head was spinning. 24 hours ago, I thought my career was over. Now, "What if I'm not ready?" I whispered. "What if—" "Stop." Riley reached across the table, gripping my hand. "Remember when I got pushed out of Global Green? You told me something I never forgot. Sometimes being pushed off a cliff teaches you that you had wings all along." I laughed despite myself. "That sounds more profound than anything I'd say." "Well, you were drunk at the time," she grinned. "But you were right. Look at me now, consulting for the top eco-firms in the country, making triple what I did before. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you is exactly what needs to happen." My phone lit up with a text. My mother. "Please reconsider. We can work this out as a family." I turned the phone face down without responding. "You know," Riley said, watching me, "the best revenge isn't destroying your enemies. It's succeeding so spectacularly, they have to watch from the sidelines." "I don't want revenge," I said automatically, then paused. "Okay, maybe a little revenge." "That's my girl." Riley stood, gathering her things. "Dinner with Noel at Seven Pines at 7. Wear something that says future CEO who's going to change the world." "I don't have anything that says that." "Yes, you do. That black dress you wore to the Sustainability Awards last year, the one that made your brother's girlfriend jealous." I smiled, remembering. "You're right, I do still have that." "Perfect." Riley headed for the door, then turned back. "Oh, and Lexi. One more thing. Angelina specifically mentioned your art background. Bring your portfolio tomorrow." "My portfolio? But I haven't drawn anything in years. Might want to fix that before morning." She winked. "Sometimes the dreams we give up come back around when we're ready for them." After she left, I sat there for a long moment, staring at my reflection in the cafe window. The woman looking back at me didn't look defeated anymore. She looked ready. I pulled out my old sketchbook from the box of office belongings and opened to a fresh page. My hand remembered the motions, even after all these years, as I began to sketch what could be beautiful, sustainable products that didn't compromise either aesthetics or ethics. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Landon. "Hope you're not bitter about today. Business is business." I didn't respond. Instead, I kept sketching, each stroke of the pencil feeling like a step forward on a new path. My path. Tomorrow couldn't come soon enough. Angelina Tran's estate loomed before me, a modernist masterpiece of glass and sustainable bamboo. The security guard checked my ID twice before letting me through the gates, his expression suggesting visitors were rare here. An elderly housekeeper led me through a maze of corridors filled with contemporary art. She stopped at a sunlit conservatory, where a small woman in her 60s sat surrounded by exotic plants, sketching in a leather-bound notebook. "Mrs. Tran," the housekeeper announced, "Miss Lexi is here." Angelina looked up, her dark eyes sharp and assessing. "Right on time. I appreciate punctuality." She gestured to the chair across from her. "Sit, tea." "Yes, thank you." I perched on the edge of the seat, clutching my portfolio. "Green tea, Margaret," Angelina called out, "and those almond cookies I like." Once we were alone, she set aside her notebook. "So, you finally left Burke." "I didn't exactly. You were pushed out, I know. I've been watching your family's company destroy itself for months now." She leaned forward. "Show me your portfolio." I handed it over, my hands trembling slightly. She flipped through it slowly, her expression unreadable. "These designs," she said, pointing to my newest sketches from last night. "When did you do these?" "Yesterday, after everything happened." "Interesting." She turned another page. "You know, your father came to me 15 years ago, begging for investment money." This was news to me. He never mentioned, "Of course not. I turned him down." She smiled thinly. "My husband had just died, and everyone thought I would sell our company. Instead, I transformed it into something better, something true to our original vision. I remember, you were the first major corporation to go completely carbon neutral." "Yes, and it cost us nearly everything." She closed my portfolio. "Your brother's changes at Burke, they're exactly what my competitors tried to pressure me into. Cutting corners, greenwashing, putting profit over planet." The housekeeper returned with tea and cookies. Angelina waited until she left before continuing. "Last night, you had dinner with Noel Jenkins. How did you—" "I know everything that happens in this industry, dear. What did you think of him?" I thought about our dinner conversation, how Noel's eyes had lit up when I showed him my designs. He's brilliant, passionate, but he needs help with the aesthetic side of things. "Yes." Angelina sipped her tea. "And you need help with the business side. That's why I called you here." She stood walking to a wall of windows overlooking her magnificent gardens. "I'm going to tell you something I've never told anyone. The day my husband died, he left me a letter. He said, 'Don't let them turn our dream into their profit.' I've spent 20 years honoring that promise." She turned back to me. "Now I'm ready to do more. I want to mentor you, Lexi." I nearly dropped my teacup. "Me? You have what I had back then, fire, principle. And now, you have nothing left to lose." She smiled. "That makes you dangerous." "I don't want to be dangerous. I just want to create something meaningful." "The two aren't mutually exclusive." She returned to her seat. "Your dinner with Noel went well. Riley's on board. Now you need capital, connections, and knowledge. I can provide all three." My heart was racing. "Why me?" "Because you remind me of myself. And because—" She hesitated. "Your father didn't just ask me for money 15 years ago. He tried to steal my husband's patents while we were still grieving. Did you know that?" I felt sick. "No. Of course not. You were too busy sacrificing everything to save his company." Her voice softened. "Sometimes karma needs a little help, don't you think?" I set down my teacup. "What exactly are you proposing?" "I'll invest in your venture with Noel, teach you everything I know, open every door." Her eyes glittered. "In return, you'll build something so revolutionary, so successful, that Burke Eco Solutions becomes irrelevant. You want me to destroy my family's company? No, dear. I want you to build something better. They'll destroy themselves. She pushed a folder across the table. Here's my offer. Take it home. Read it carefully. I stood on shaky legs, clutching the folder. I'll think about it. Don't think too long. Opportunities like this are like butterflies. Beautiful but fleeting. She walked me to the door. Oh, and Lexi, check page 6 of that folder. I think you'll find the information about your brother's overseas suppliers particularly interesting. As I drove home, my mind was spinning. The folder sat heavy in my bag, full of promises and secrets. My phone buzzed, a text from my mother. Your father's blood pressure is through the roof. How could you do this to us? I pulled over, took out the folder, and turned to page 6. What I read made my decision for me. Sometimes karma does need a little help. 3 months flew by in a whirlwind of meetings, designs, and late-night planning sessions. Our new company, Eden Essence, had taken over the entire top floor of a renovated warehouse. I stood at the window, watching the sunrise paint the sky pink, when Riley burst through the door. They're here, the first prototype samples. Noel followed behind her, carrying a large box. Hot off the sustainable bamboo production line, my hands shook as I lifted the lid. Inside lay our first product line, a collection of home goods that looked more like art pieces than eco-friendly alternatives. I picked up a water pitcher, running my fingers over the organic curves I'd sketched months ago. It's perfect, I breathed. The bamboo glass fusion actually worked, and it's 100% traceable, Noel added, pulling up specs on his tablet. Every component, every worker, every step of production, completely transparent and ethical. Riley was already snapping photos. The pre-orders are going to go crazy when people see these. We've got lifestyle influencers lined up, sustainable living bloggers. My phone buzzed, a news alert about Burke Eco Solutions. I opened it, my heart stopping as I read the headline. Major eco company faces investigation over false environmental claims. Guys, I said, turning my phone around. Look. Riley whistled low. Wow, someone leaked documents about their overseas suppliers. Someone? Noel raised an eyebrow at me. Not me. I set the phone down, though I might know who did. The article detailed exactly what I'd discovered months ago. The toxic materials, the exploited workers, the falsified certificates. Landon's handiwork, all of it. Your timing is impeccable, came a voice from the doorway. Angelina stood there, elegant as ever in her signature black pantsuit. The market is about to have a very large hole in it, one that Eden Essence can fill. Mrs. Tran, Noel scrambled to his feet. We weren't expecting you until the board meeting. I like to surprise people. She walked over to inspect our prototypes. Excellent craftsmanship. The design is inspired. She picked up one of my sketches. You found your voice again, Lexi. Before I could respond, my phone started ringing. Mom's face flashed on the screen. Take it, Angelina said. It's time. I stepped into the hallway, heart pounding. Hello? How could you? Mom's voice was raw. The FBI is here, Lexi. They're going through everything. I didn't. Your brother is being questioned. Your father's in the hospital. His heart, Lexi. His heart. My own heart clenched, but I forced my voice to stay steady. I warned you, Mom. I showed you the evidence months ago. You chose not to listen. We're your family. No, I said quietly. You made it very clear I wasn't family when you chose Landon's lies over my truth. I ended the call and walked back into the office, where Riley was organizing our product launch presentation. You okay? She asked. Better than okay. I picked up one of our prototypes, a solar-powered lamp that looked like a piece of abstract sculpture. Let's change the world. The next few hours were a blur of activity. Our marketing team arrived, photographers set up shoots, and social media started buzzing with teasers. By afternoon, Jocker Eden Essence was trending. Look at this, Noel said, showing me his phone. The top comment on our preview post read, "Finally, eco-friendly products that don't look like eco-friendly products." Speaking of looking good, Riley called from her desk, "Wait until you see tomorrow's Business Weekly. They're running a feature on female entrepreneurs in sustainable tech." "Guess who's on the cover?" I groaned. "Please tell me you're joking." "Front page," Angelina confirmed, looking pleased. The former Burke Eco Solutions creative director, now revolutionizing sustainable design. The timing couldn't be better. My phone buzzed again, Landon this time. I declined the call. "You know," Noel said, studying our product line, "we should send a complete set to Burke Eco Solutions, as a professional courtesy." Riley snorted. "Professional courtesy my ass. You just want to twist the knife." "No," I said, an idea forming. "He's right, but not to twist the knife, to show them what they could have had if they'd stayed true to their principles." Angelina smiled that sphinx-like smile of hers. "Now you're thinking like a CEO." I looked around the room. At Riley's fierce loyalty, Noel's brilliant innovation, Angelina's steady guidance, and my own designs finally coming to life. This was what family should feel like. My phone lit up with another news alert. Burke Eco Solutions stock plummets amid scandal. I turned off my phone and picked up my sketchbook instead. Let's focus on tomorrow's launch. We've got a world to change. And for the first time since that day in the conference room, I felt nothing but gratitude for being pushed out. Sometimes you have to lose everything to find what you were meant to build. The launch party for Eden Essence was in full swing. Our renovated warehouse transformed into an eco-chic wonderland. Every major player in sustainable business was there, admiring our products displayed like museum pieces under soft, energy-efficient lighting. "Another magazine wants an interview," Riley said, appearing at my elbow with 2 glasses of organic champagne. "Forbes this time." I took a sip, watching the crowd. "How's the pre-order numbers?" "Off the charts. We've had to triple our production capacity." She grinned. "And Burke Eco Solutions just announced major layoffs." Before I could respond, a familiar voice cut through the crowd. "Lexi." My mother stood near the entrance, looking smaller than I remembered in her designer suit. The room suddenly felt too warm. "I've got this," Riley said, moving to intercept her, but I caught her arm. "No, let her come." Mom wound her way through the crowd, her eyes darting around the space. "This is impressive. What are you doing here? I needed to see you." She clutched her purse like a shield. "Your father's being indicted. Landon too. They're saying terrible things." "True things," I corrected quietly. "We need your help, your influence. If you could just speak to some people." "Mrs. Burke," Angelina's voice cut in smoothly as she appeared beside me. "How lovely to see you after all these years. I trust your husband's blood pressure has improved." Mum's face went pale. You did this." "No, your son did this. Your husband did this. I merely ensured the truth came to light." Angelina's smile was razor sharp. Karma, as they say, is a patient businesswoman. "We're family," Mum pleaded, turning back to me. "Doesn't that mean anything?" I set down my champagne glass. "It meant everything. That's why it hurt so much when you chose profit over principles, when you threw me away." "We didn't." "Yes, you did." I gestured to the space around us. "But look what happened. I found my real family. People who believe in the same things I do, who support each other instead of tearing each other down." A commotion near the door drew our attention. Landon pushed his way inside, his usual polished appearance notably disheveled. "Security," Riley called out, but I waved them off. "Let him come." Landon stormed over, his face red. "Happy now, sis? Everything we built is falling apart." "Everything you destroyed, you mean?" I corrected. "I tried to warn you." "Those documents were confidential. You had no right." "I didn't leak them, Landon, but I'm glad someone did." He laughed bitterly, gesturing at the displays. "So, this is your revenge? Pretty products for rich hippies." Noel stepped forward. Your sister just secured contracts with 3 major retail chains. These pretty products will be in every major store by next quarter. At prices people can actually afford, Riley added, with complete supply chain transparency. You're finished, Landon, I said quietly. But it didn't have to be this way. You chose this. Your father is sick because of you, Mom cut in. No, Angelina interrupted. He's sick because he couldn't face the consequences of his own actions. Just like he couldn't 20 years ago when he tried to steal my husband's patents. Mom's face went white. How did you— Please leave, I said, suddenly tired. Both of you. Enjoy the party favors on your way out. They're all sustainable, of course. This isn't over, Landon snarled. Actually, it is. I nodded to security, who finally moved in. Your company is facing federal charges, Landon. Maybe focus on finding a good lawyer instead of threatening me. As they were escorted out, I felt a hand on my shoulder. It was Angelina. You handled that perfectly, she said, like a true CEO. Speaking of which, Riley cut in, the Times reporter is ready for your interview. They want photos with the product line. I straightened my shoulders, smoothed my dress. Let's give them something to write about. The rest of the evening passed in a blur of interviews, congratulations, and partnership offers. Near midnight, as the last guests were leaving, I found myself alone with my core team. To Eden Essence, Noel raised his glass. And to Lexi, who proved that doing good can look good too. To Karma, Riley added with a wink. To family, I said, looking at each of them. The one we choose. My phone buzzed. Another news alert about Burke Eco Solutions, but I didn't open it. I didn't need to. My success wasn't about their failure anymore. It was about staying true to my principles, about creating something meaningful. Ready for tomorrow? Angelina asked, gathering her things to leave. The real work begins now. I looked around at our beautiful space, at the products we'd created, at the team we'd built. Bring it on. As if on cue, Riley's phone chimed. Another major order just came in. They want to feature us in their spring sustainability campaign. I smiled, picking up my sketchbook. Then we better get to work. I have some new designs in mind. The night view of the city sparkled through our windows, full of promise and possibility. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's living well, on your own terms. The courthouse steps were crowded with reporters when I arrived. 6 months had passed since our launch, and today was Landon's sentencing hearing. I hadn't planned to come, but something pulled me here. Miss Burke, the reporters surged forward. Any comment on your brother's guilty plea? How does it feel to see your family's company dismantled? I pushed through them without commenting, only to find Riley waiting at the top of the steps. Thought you might need backup, she said, linking her arm through mine. Inside, the courtroom was already packed. My parents sat in the front row, both looking years older than when I'd last seen them. Mom's hair had gone completely grey. Dad kept dabbing at his forehead with a handkerchief. We can leave, Riley whispered. No, I need to see this through. Landon entered in handcuffs, his designer suit replaced by something off the rack. He looked small somehow, nothing like the swaggering brother who'd had me thrown out of the company. The judge cleared her throat. Before I deliver the sentence, would anyone like to speak on the defendant's behalf? My father stood shakily. Your Honor, my son made mistakes, but— Mistakes? The word left my mouth before I could stop it. Every head in the courtroom turned. Miss Burke, the judge said, would you like to make a statement? I felt Riley squeeze my hand as I stood. Yes, Your Honor. Walking to the podium, I finally met Landon's eyes. There was no smirk now, no arrogance, just fear. My brother didn't make mistakes, I said clearly. He made choices, calculated decisions to deceive customers, exploit workers, and damage the environment for profit. He betrayed everything our company stood for. Lexi, please, Mum whispered from her seat. But, I continued, he's not the only one responsible. Our father encouraged it. Our mother enabled it. They chose profit over principle, and now thousands of people have lost their jobs because of it. The judge leaned forward. Are you asking for a harsh sentence, Miss Burke? No. I took a deep breath. I'm asking for rehabilitation. My brother's smart. He's talented. If he used those skills to actually help the environment instead of exploiting it. I turned to face Landon directly. You could still do something meaningful with your life. The judge nodded thoughtfully. After a moment, she spoke. Mr. Burke, please rise. Landon stood, his shoulders hunched. Taking into account your guilty plea and your sister's statement, I sentence you to 4 years in federal prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. During that time, you will work with environmental cleanup initiatives. Additionally, you will pay restitution to all affected parties. The gavel came down with finality. As Landon was led away, he caught my eye one last time. I'm sorry, he mouthed. Outside, my parents were waiting. That was kind of you, Dad said stiffly, speaking for him like that. I didn't do it for him. I squared my shoulders. I did it because revenge doesn't solve anything. Building something better does. We've seen the news, Mom said quietly. Your company. It's everything ours should have been. Yes, it is. Maybe. Dad cleared his throat. Maybe we could talk. About the future. About rebuilding. No. The word came out gentle but firm. I'm not coming back to fix what you broke. I'm building my own legacy now. But we're still your parents, Mom pleaded. Yes, you are. And maybe someday we can have a relationship again. But not a business one. Never again. My phone buzzed. A text from Noel. Turn on CNBC now. Riley already had it pulled up on her phone. The headline made my heart stop. Eden Essence selected for Global Environmental Innovation Award. What's happening? Dad asked, trying to peek at the screen. Life, I said, smiling. Life is happening. Goodbye, Mum. Dad, take care of each other. Walking down those courthouse steps felt like walking into a new chapter. Riley linked her arm through mine again. You okay? Better than okay. I showed her another text, this one from Angelina. Come to the office. Time to discuss international expansion. Speaking of expansion, Riley grinned. Wait until you see the latest sales figures. We're not just beating Burke's old numbers, we're demolishing them. That's not what matters anymore. No? She raised an eyebrow. No. What matters is that somewhere, someone is using our products and realizing that doing the right thing can be beautiful too. We reached my car, where the media was still waiting. This time, I stopped. Miss Burke, what's your response to the verdict? I looked directly into the cameras. The only response that matters is action. Want to know what I think? Come to Eden Essence tomorrow. We're announcing something big. Riley laughed as we drove away. You're such a tease. They don't know about the solar project yet. They will tomorrow. I smiled, thinking of the designs waiting on my desk, of the future we were building. Sometimes the best way forward isn't looking back at all. The Global Environmental Innovation Awards ceremony buzzed with anticipation. I sat between Riley and Noel, trying not to fidget with my sustainable silk dress, a prototype from our new clothing line. Relax, Riley whispered. You've got this. Easy for you to say. You're not giving the keynote. Ladies and gentlemen, the MC announced, please welcome our next speaker, the CEO of Eden Essence, and this year's Innovation Award recipient, Lexi Burke. The applause felt surreal as I walked to the podium. Faces looked up at me expectantly. Industry leaders, environmental activists, and there, in the front row, Angelina nodding encouragingly. A year ago, I began, I sat in a conference room and watched everything I believed in crumble. My family's company, which had pioneered sustainable business practices, chose profit over principle. I lost my job, my family, and my purpose, or so I thought. The room was silent now, hanging on every word. But sometimes losing everything is just life's way of making room for something better. Today, Eden Essence isn't just a company, it's a movement. We're proving that sustainability doesn't mean sacrifice. That doing good and looking good aren't mutually exclusive. I clicked to the first slide, showing our solar project designs. I'm excited to announce that Eden Essence is partnering with global architecture firms to integrate our solar-powered art installations into urban spaces. Imagine city parks powered by sculptures that are both beautiful and functional. Imagine public spaces that celebrate sustainability instead of hiding it. The next slide showed our new clothing line, and this is just the beginning. Today we're launching Eden Wear, fashion that's completely traceable, sustainable, and designed to last. No more fast fashion, no more hidden supply chains. Movement at the back of the hall caught my eye. My parents slipped in, taking seats in the last row. I faltered for a moment, then continued stronger. But the real innovation isn't in our products. It's in our promise. Complete transparency. Every material, every worker, every process, visible to all. Because we believe that when you have nothing to hide, you have everything to gain. The applause was thunderous. As I returned to my seat, my phone lit up with a message from an unknown number. Landon, from prison. Watching the live stream. You were right all along. Proud of you, sis. I tucked the phone away as the award presentation began. When they called my name again, I walked up with my team. This award belongs to all of us, I said, holding up the recycled glass trophy. To everyone who believed that doing the right thing is always the right choice. At the reception afterward, Angelina appeared with a tall man in an impeccably tailored suit. Lexi, meet Marcus from Goldman Sachs. He's interested in taking Eden Essence public. My eyes widened. Public? But we're barely a year old. Your growth metrics are unprecedented, Marcus said. And your brand loyalty. I haven't seen numbers like these since Apple. Before I could respond, I felt a tap on my shoulder. Mum stood there, Dad beside her. Your speech, she said softly. It was beautiful. Thank you. I turned to introduce them to Marcus, but he and Angelina had tactfully disappeared. We've been following everything, Dad said. Your success, your innovations. You've built something remarkable. We were wrong, Mom added, about everything. We wanted to tell you that. I studied their faces, the genuine regret, the pride they'd never shown before. Would you like to see our new designs? I heard myself ask. Their faces lit up. As we walked toward the display area, Riley intercepted us. Sorry to interrupt, but Tokyo's on the line. They want to move up the launch date. Go, Dad said. We can catch up another time. Maybe dinner next week. I nodded slowly. Dinner would be nice. After they left, Noel appeared with champagne. To our fearless leader. To all of us, I corrected, including Riley and the rest of our team gathering around. Speaking of all of us, Riley grinned, wait until you see tomorrow's Times. They're calling us the future of ethical business. No pressure, I laughed. The evening wound down, but the energy remained electric. As we gathered for one last team photo, I caught my reflection in the window. I barely recognized the confident woman looking back at me. Hey, Riley nudged me. Where'd you go just now? Just thinking about that conference room a year ago, how losing everything turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me. To us, she corrected. Now, about Tokyo, I smiled, pulling out my sketchbook, the same one I'd carried out of Burke Eco Solutions that last day. I have some ideas, because that's the thing about rock bottom. It's a pretty solid foundation to build something extraordinary. The morning sun streamed through Eden Essence's new headquarters, a renovated historical building powered entirely by our solar art installations. I stood in my office, putting the finishing touches on a display of our journey, our first prototype, newspaper clippings, and in the center, my original sketchbook. A knock at the door made me turn. Angelina stood there, looking elegant as ever. Ready for the transition announcement? Almost. I adjusted the frame containing our first product photo. Hard to believe you're really retiring. It's time. She walked over to examine the display. You've exceeded every expectation I had when I decided to mentor you. I had good teachers. I smiled. Karma. Speaking of karma, Riley burst in, waving her tablet. You need to see this. She pulled up a video of Landon being interviewed after his release from prison. He looked different, humbler, more grounded. My sister was right, he was saying. Success built on lies isn't success at all. That's why I'm dedicating my community service to teaching sustainable business practices to at-risk youth. Turn it off, I said softly. There's more, Riley insisted. He's been consulting with environmental cleanup projects, actually making a difference. People can change, Angelina observed, when they want to. My phone buzzed, a text from Mom. We're here for the announcement. Your father's nervous but excited. They're really doing it, Riley asked, reading over my shoulder. I nodded. Dad's officially transferring what's left of Burke Eco Solutions to Landon's youth program. They're converting the old offices into a sustainability education center. Full circle, Angelina smiled. Now, shall we give them something to talk about? We headed to the conference room, now packed with media, employees, and industry leaders. Noel was already at the podium, running through our latest quarterly results. And now, he said, beaming, the moment everyone's been waiting for. Please welcome our CEO, Lexi. The applause was warm as I took the stage. In the audience, I spotted my parents sitting next to Landon. Mom gave me a thumbs up. When we launched Eden Essence, we had a dream of making sustainability beautiful and accessible. Today, that dream has grown beyond anything we imagined. Our solar art installations power cities worldwide. Our products have made eco-friendly living the new normal. I gestured to Angelina to join me. Mrs. Tran has been our guiding light, our mentor, and our biggest supporter. Today, as she steps into retirement, we're not just celebrating her legacy, we're building on it. I'm proud to announce that Eden Essence is establishing the Tran Foundation for Environmental Innovation with an initial endowment of $50 million. Angelina's usually composed face showed genuine surprise. We hadn't told her about this part, but that's not all, I continued. The Foundation's first project will be partnering with a new sustainability education center run by someone who learned the hard way that principles matter more than profit. Landon stood up, straightening his tie. Thank you, sis. I won't let you down. Not again. The press conference dissolved into excited chatter as reporters rushed to get comments. In the chaos, I felt a hand on my arm. Dad, I've never said this, he said, voice rough with emotion. But I was wrong, and I'm so proud of you. We both are, Mom added, joining us. You built something amazing. We built something amazing, I corrected, gesturing to my team. All of us. Riley clinked a spoon against her glass, calling for attention. Sorry to interrupt the family moment, but Tokyo's waiting for their virtual tour of the new installations. Go, Dad smiled. We'll see you Sunday for dinner. Wouldn't miss it. As the room cleared out, I found myself alone with Angelina one last time. You planned this perfectly, she said. The foundation, Landon's program, all of it. I learned from the best. I handed her a small package. One last thing. She opened it to find a framed photo of us from the launch party, along with a handwritten note. Sometimes karma needs a helping hand. Sometimes it needs a whole family. You know, she said, touching the frame gently, revenge is sweet, but this is better. It's not about revenge anymore, I agreed. It's about building something that matters. My phone chimed, Riley sending me the schedule for tomorrow's meetings. Tokyo, London, Sydney. Eden Essence had gone global, but our core values remained the same. Ready to change more worlds? Riley called from the doorway. I picked up my sketchbook, no longer filled with just dreams, but with reality, always. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. Sometimes it's creating something so beautiful, so meaningful, that it transforms not just your own life, but everyone else's too. And that's a legacy worth building.